What could be next for Hytale? Hello and welcome back to Hytale Truffle. Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Like and subscribe right now or Hytale will be delayed until 2027. As far as game rumors are concerned, the ones surrounding Hytale have been shockingly tame so far. But the thing is that as long as there is still a couple of years left before the game is released, stuff can change drastically, and so a lot of Hytale fans always remain curious about what could come next, and that's what we're going to look at today. What's in store for Hytale and the community surrounding it for 2022 and forward? To answer that question, we must take a look at Hytale's in the past, in its present, and where Hypixel wants the game to go in the future. So if you are interested in finding out more about the future of Hytale, this is the video for you. Let's put on your theories cap, because today we're predicting the future of Hytale, starting with the Hytale Mobile Edition. To understand where I'm coming from, let's take a look at this little tidbit that the developer gave us in 2021's winter update. As we explained in our previous development update, we have spent a lot of time over the last year conducting a deep investigations into all of the things that we need to do in order to ensure that Hytale lives up to the expectations. This investigation extends from the technology underpinning the game to the design and structure of Hytale itself. And if you're wondering why they have suddenly so concerned about changing the very fabric of the game, here's what they had to say immediately afterward. It's vitally important to us that Hytale supports a large interconnected community for many years to come. That means making sure that we are ready for the challenges that come with growth, including eventually releasing the game on multiple platforms. Now, what does this all mean, and what does it have to do with a mobile release? Well, it's not super hard to understand that it would have taken the company at least 4 to 5 years of painstaking development and testing to take the game engine to where it is today, and yet in the span of barely a year, they suddenly threw out all of that progress. And while that might sound like playing lunacy right now, the thing is that there are actually a very good reasons for this last-minute change, and one of them is what I think is a very definite possibility of a mobile release. Let me explain. If you have been a part of Hytale community for a long time, you'll know that from the get-go, Hytale has been a fan-based endeavor. I mean, the entire reason the game started being developed in the first place was because of the fans. But over time, as the hype train continued to gather more and more momentum, the focus of the developers seems to have shifted away from just satisfying the fans to making a game that can be played and loved by anyone. And that, as the devs explained in the part I quoted earlier, is that why they are planning to release the game on different platforms. And here's the thing, the fact that they want the game to be playable on consoles is good, but why stop there? The only reason that Hytale was not going to come to mobile phones before was because of its underlying structure. But with all that gone, I think it's almost a given that very soon we'll have confirmations of Hytale mobile editions, and honestly, I couldn't be happier. As the devs have maintained again and again, they are not going to compromise one editions because of the others and are always going to try and implement crossplay as much as possible, and the result, adding a whole new demographic of mobile users, will only make the Hytale world more interesting and fun. Not to mention, it will also probably help the game be more successful too. And speaking of success and using accessibility, we have another thing I think is a given. A $0 price tag. One of the questions that Hypixel Studio has always tried to dodge are the price of the game, and it's not a surprise that they have been so secretive about it, because I think that they actually haven't taken the decision yet. Think about it. If you're an indie studio and are working on a game that realistically only the people who are already fans will play for the first few years at least, in that case you have no choice except to sell the game for a price. But if you haven't noticed, that's not what happened to Hytale. Far from being the small indie game it was in its heyday, it is now one of the most anticipated games of all time, with some of the biggest fans coming not from Hypixel at all. And when you have the shot at actually becoming such a big thing, the need for a price tag starts to become less and less apparent. Instead, releasing the game for free starts to look more attractive. In that way, you can access a monumentally larger user base. Not to mention, if you're an online multiplayer game like Hytale, it can also mean a larger revenue stream if you play your cards right. And well, the way the game is hyped up right now, paired with the fact that they have clearly gunning for as many people as possible, I think it makes a lot of sense for Hytale to go free. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing videos from us.